So we're going to look at the lightning flow as to how to loop through variables and use that utility. That is one of the most complex utilities you can use in lightning flow. So what we will do here is the first lightning flow, what it did was it created a contact for a loan application, created a case, and then submitted for approval, right? Now what we're going to do is we are going to loop through this contacts which are related to a particular account and transfer the data to another account. Alright, so if this kind of task come up, you can use it using you can use lightning flows to run it. Okay, now this need not take screen inputs. In the previous lightning flow we created using screen input. So let's take a look here. So currently all these accounts belong to Airtel 444. I'm going to transfer it to another account called as Airtel 1. So Airtel 1 is another account. So if I say Airtel 1, so I'm going to hard code the IDs of these both. So if you see here, Airtel 444 has got this ID and Airtel 1 has got this ID, correct? The second ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for all the contacts which are associated with Airtel 444 and connect them to account Airtel 1. So currently if you see here, all these accounts are connected to, just let me come here, to Airtel 444. So I'm going to transfer the contact relationship to Airtel 1 for all these contacts. So let us see how to do that. So let's head to the flow builder and create a new flow. So we're going to use the loop variable and all that over here. So let's build a new flow. Now in this flow, it's not going to be a screen flow, it's going to be an auto launch flow. So this is going to automate a repetitive task and it doesn't need any UI inputs. Okay, so this is the second use case for this, very useful. Okay, so now we create this. So first thing is we are going to get the records, correct? We need to query for the records. So we say get account, get contacts, and the object to search. So we select the data here, get records here, which automatically helps us query for it, and we select contact object. But now of course we don't want all the contacts, we want conditions which are met. So there are two options, either you get all the contacts or only what we want. So we say account ID equals to Airtel 444 because currently all are linked to Airtel 444. So we have collected the data of Airtel 444 here. So let's take the ID here. I'm hard coding, this is not the best way to do it, but I'm just showing you an example of how to do. So this is going to get me all the contacts which are related to account Airtel 444. Okay, so how many records to store? I want to store all the records. And what are the fields I want? ID of course, and then I want the account ID because this is what in the loop. This is similar to write, something writing like list of account ACC equal to select blah 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 from. So this is the similar thing that we are doing over here. Okay, in Apex we would have been actually writing this. So we are not using any code. So I'm just using account ID to be stored here, and that's it. So we have this in our loop. Okay, next is now we are going to loop through the record. So we'll take the loop element and say loop records. We give it a label. Now it's going to ask me what is the record. So it shows me already the one which is there in the flow, which is the contacts from get contact. So I'm going to loop through this. And I'm going to create a new resource to store this. So this has to be a type of variable which will store contact. I'll say contact loop variable, and the data type of this is going to be a record because it's going to store each and every record and this data type is contact. So allow multiple values. Yes, it's going to be a collection and we're going to make it available for input and output. And the loop variable, now for each and every variable, what is it going to be is, so it's again going to be single contact, and this is going to be contact data type. So now we have this thing done. So the loop record, we have get contacts which is going to store, and within that we are going to store it in a single contact. So what we have done basically here is, in Apex we used to write for, if you have this list, we would say for account, correct, A:ACC. Now this ACC is the get account list and this A is the single account. So for this is where this is the apex counterpart of this. So this is how we are, and for this we can use a single dot field name for any of the particular records processing. Alright, so with this processing, now we need to create the update record. We need to do some action. So let's see what to do here. Update record, we'll say update the contacts. So if you remember, our use case is to change the account ID association. So specify the conditions. We are going to specify the conditions. We'll say find contacts which match this, which account ID equals to single contact ID. Sorry, contact ID equals to, yeah, contact ID equals to the our single contact variable dot ID. So this is going to be ID actually. Yeah, so the contact ID. So anything which matches this, so this is the one, and we are going to set these fields to this account ID, which is the single contact. We're going to assign it the hard code it to the other account ID, which is the Airtel 111. We want to transfer, if you remember, this is what we're going to do. We are going to transfer contacts which are related to Airtel 444 to the other. So we are hard coding this to this value. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm querying for the data which are matching this criteria, where account ID is equal to AAAP, that is Airtel 444. Yeah, and then we store it in a record variable. Okay, then we process loop through the records here using the get contacts and single contact, and then we update the records here wherever it matches the single contact dot ID. So this is the single loop. If at all it matches the contact ID, then we are going to update the account with AAB, which is the second one, Airtel 1. So one thing is we have to start connecting this. First we have to get the records, then we are going to loop through the records. Now if you know, now if you see this for loop is always, processing is done within a loop, right? So you have to, so we are saying if the contact ID is matching, we are going to, actually we don't even need to give that condition over here, but I have just given that extra condition. So what we can do is, it will go first for each item in the collection or after list item. For I want this to happen for all the records, and then we need to connect it back to the we also need to connect it back to the loop. So this is within the loop, so we save it here. So we say,
do you recognize this, Sally?
alright, so we call this flow update record and update account in contact. So now let's see this. Now when we run this, we can just activate this and run this for example. So let's run it one. Please note here that initially these are related to SFO Mumbai and all related to the Airtel 444. So now we are going to run this, and the flow is finished. Okay, so this one has completed. So now let's refresh this and see what's happened. So now if you see, all this have got replaced with Airtel 1. So this is a very powerful tool here. Basically you whatever you use in Apex, you can write code here to complete this. So basically you create get records, store it in the loop. So this gets stored basically in the get contacts itself, in this element, and then in the loop you loop through the get contacts, which is a collection variable, and for each and every single contact you're going to loop, and within the loop what processing you want to do, like say within the for loop you want to do something, right? So you got to go here, you say update records. You're just matching the conditions for the contacts which are coming in. In fact, we can skip this for this. You can try it out later. You can skip this. We don't need this, but I'm just adding this condition if you want to make sure, like, if you want to add another condition, and I'm hard coding the account ID to the second one. So that's what it has gone ahead and updated this to Airtel one. Okay, so this is some of the very strong features of Lightning Flow. I suggest you stop here and rewind the video and complete this whole Lightning task. This one, Lightning Flow, this one and the previous one.